Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the First Time Homebuyers Podcast. I am one of your two co-hosts, Tom Sommers with Coldwell Banker Burnett in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Eric McKenna, who lives in the Pittsburgh area and works with Remax Advanced. Hi, Eric. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Great to be here.
Fantastic. So, we've got another fun-filled show with all types of information for you. Today, we're going to talk about communication and honesty. I think those two pieces go hand in hand when you're choosing a realtor, and we'll try not to turn these into this thing where we just talk about hiring us. That's not the intention.
No, it's not.
But
It's not.
we want to tell you what we see on this podcast in real life when we're dealing with clients and agents and all that sort of thing. So this one's kind of we're winging it. So Eric, let's start with you and let's see where this goes.
Sure. I've been waiting for this, Tommy.
Okay.
This is for me as a realtor, one of the most essential things that I promise to all of my clients is complete honesty. You can always expect that, and Tommy feels the same way. We've had conversations about how necessary that is. And in turn, in a very polite way, I ask the same back from my clients as well, because that's the best way there's going to be synergy between us as we move toward the goal.
Yeah.
I'm not about wasting your time, and obviously my time is valuable to me too. And I think sometimes without total honesty, sometimes it's hard to be the most effective realtor for you. Let me give you an example of what I'm referring to.
Okay.
I am the type of realtor that I want to meet my client at least for 10 to 20 minutes before we ever go look at a home. I actually insist upon it. And the reason being is I want to sit down, look you in the eye, tell you briefly what you can expect from me. And then I need that time to understand your wants, your needs. I have a couple pointed questions I'm going to ask you. And it's all information that I need to do my job correctly for you. It's a very good, oftentimes we're there an hour over a cup of coffee. It just works out, and I answer questions and I get information from you by the questions I ask. The reason is I need to know as a buyer exactly what's on your mind at that time. Fully known that it may change after we see homes, it may change next week or whatever. But as your realtor, I need total honesty from you. And what I mean by that is, I need you to be in line, especially if it's a couple. The two of you need to be cohesive together. I can't work with one and not the other. You are a unit to me as a couple. You need to be on the same page. And I'll help you do that. I'll ask the hard questions. That's part of what I do. But at the same time, I really, for lack of a better phrase, I really kind of insist on pure honesty from my clients, because when you do that, sometimes it's painful or maybe sometimes a little embarrassing. That's okay. Tommy and I have heard it all before. We're kind of like a doctor.
Yeah.
We've heard it all before. But believe me, once we know the facts, we really can go to work for you. So I just feel that initial interview with all my buyer clients is so essential if I'm going to be the best realtor I can be for you.
Plus, when we build that core of trust with you, then you can tell us things. We don't care what you make for a living. We don't want to know all of your personal information. Eric's speaking specifically of just being honest with us and telling us what you need us to do to help you. And I would think as a buyer, you should demand this. The other part of the honesty piece goes with me for communication. When it comes to communication, that sounds, from what I understand, the number one complaint by buyers and sellers after they're done with their real estate agent and done with their transaction is that's been an issue, and it's the number one most important thing to them, because I think those two go hand in hand. Having said that, though, with the communication point, to give you an idea, I'm not a real estate agent, okay? I'm a professional chaser. That's what I do. Because 90% of my time is spent working on your file, whether it's getting it to underwriting or to the loan officer to get to underwriting, if it's with the inspector, if it's whatever it might be. And one of the hardest things I have to do is get the communication going on the other side. Now, there are a lot of great realtors out there, truly wonderful realtors, but there's also some that are like, are you kidding me, really? And I've had a situation just last week where I had to usually call 4 times and email 6 before I would get a response. Found out the guy was literally out of the country. He didn't have an assistant, didn't have someone covering his stuff. So he's trying to manage his business literally from half a world away. Well, this stuff is time sensitive, and you have to have an agent who communicates, because it's very possible that that type of reckless behavior can cost you a deal. And so you want someone who is going to work on your behalf, that is going to be honest with you, and is going to be a pit bull, a tenacious person on your behalf to make sure that this gets done. Because unfortunately, we're married to these other people for this transaction, and you need to pick an agent who really can work with a lot of different types of people.
No, I could not agree more. And I often, I've told this to my clients, that obviously clients I have a relationship with. I often tell them, usually after closing, around closing, and because they get the feeling that if the other side's been communicating effectively or not, but they'll kind of get a feel based upon my reactions. And I often say, you have no idea what I have gone through on the other side to corral all the moving parts on your behalf, because I insulate my clients from all of that. That's our job. We are trying to make the process as easy for you as possible.
Yeah, we don't want to put you on an emotional roller coaster.
No, absolutely not. We take the. This is kind of an odd way of saying it, but in light of the reality, we kind of take the hits. We take the hits for you, the ups and downs and so forth. And only if it's a decision on your behalf or an action you need to take will you find out about it from me. Emotional roller coasters of sellers, emotional roller coasters of other seller agents, not your concern. We buffer you from that stuff. At the same time, we need you to be 100% honest with us so that we're carrying the right information back at all time. Or if we're in the search phase, that we're not wasting your time. And again, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If your agent's not willing to give you enough of their time to really get to know you, it doesn't mean they need your whole life story. And as Tommy says, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to give your financials to your mortgage lender. We don't need that stuff. But we do need to have a good grip on where you want to be, where your comfort level is, and what scope of house, and even some general pricing information. We just need to know where you're comfortable. And if you do have issues, a husband and wife or two partners, if you do have some issues, one kind of wants this and one doesn't want this, that's okay. But we'll try to bring you together if we can. But I would ask that you work hard together to get on the same page, because that's when true honesty comes with your realtor. And once we had that, believe me, Tommy and I feel really empowered when we know we're in sync with our clients. It means a lot to us. It really does.
Totally. And some of you may be listening to this right now going, this is stupid. I mean, it's possible. And I can't say that you're wrong. But truth be told, most people don't understand, especially the way things have shifted now. Anyone can find a house, whoopity-doo. You can look online and there they are. You're hiring us as real estate agents to help you through the whole entire process. And it starts at the beginning with honesty and full disclosure. And it's not that we think for 1 minute that you're not being honest with us. Point that we're trying to make is feel free to tell us what you need so we can help you. That's the hardest part. Sometimes people just don't tell you anything, and you're like, okay, well, is the search working? Do you like these houses we're looking at? Is there something more,
Right.
And just look at it from the standpoint of, again, like we've been harping on you guys about this since we started. It is a community effort. You are hiring a team of professionals, all which know what they're doing and will get you from point A to point B. So consider honesty and communication when you're picking a realtor, because those two things are the most important things to the transaction. Because you never want an agent who's going to speak for you. You want an agent who's going to say, hey, here's your 2 or 3 choices. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to say it? Where can I get you to a comfort level? And then once you, the buyer or the client, makes the decision, it's our job to make sure that gets conveyed to the other side.
That's awesome. And I'll just, I guess, maybe to wrap this up, just in contextual basis, Tommy just mentioned about, you're buying into a whole team here. You're engaging a whole team to get you to point A to point B, to take all these moving parts and make them all work for you. And in reality, my friends, you're not paying for it. And what I mean by that is we work for you for the most part at no charge. We are paid by the commission that the seller puts on the property. There's typically a small transaction fee that the brokers that hire us may have at closing. It's pretty nominal.
Yep.
But when you think about all that we bring to the table and all of who works with us brings to the table, it's a really cool service. I mean, a buyer's agent is wonderful. The value that comes to the buyer is very, very just wonderful. And in turn, all we're asking for to get you there is just honesty. That's it.
And you deserve the best.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. You deserve
Absolutely.
to work with the best. So next week, we're going to move on and talk about some of the current things going on in real estate. So make sure that you check back with us. As always, you can find us on YouTube or Spreaker. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us, call us, whatever it might be. Any final thoughts?
No, not at all. I just think that I love the fact that we're addressing something that is relevant to both of us and relevant to all realtors, all good realtors. We want your communication, and we promise to be just as effective, if not more effective, back to you. But once we have that honesty and the truth of where you want to go, we're going to get you there.
There you go. And if you're listening in Montana, Idaho, Arizona, I don't care. If you don't have a real estate agent and you need help, call us. We will find one for you free of charge.
Even Puerto Rico.
Yep, this is a service we do in the continental United States as well as Alaska or Hawaii. I have sent a couple referrals to Hawaii because everyone wants to live in Hawaii.
Nice.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and we will be back next week. Again, you can find us on Spreaker and YouTube, the First Time Home Buyers Podcast. You can Google us as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thanks so much. Great being here.
See ya.
Have a good day.